Hello, world, and welcome to Believe in the Dallas Cowboys. It's just the title of the show. I know you don't have to leave in the comments. I don't believe in the Dallas Cowboys. That's the name of the show. It's a network. It's the Believe Network. You're crying out loud. My name is Jeff Cavanaugh from 97.1 The Freak. I'm alongside my co-host. I am a freak.
Okay.
Yeah, you don't want me to go into details, but yes, I am alongside my co-host who is not a freak. He is he's a man of God, straight up. Run of the mill, everything standard. The great former Cowboy wide receiver Jesse Holley.
Oh, Jesse Holley went 77 yards. It must be a reality show.
And we are here to talk Dallas Cowboys at Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Because
let me say this first, because I am actually a freak. If you go back to the origin, when you're a receiver at the University of North Carolina, you're considered a freak. So treat other receivers at UNC as freak. And freak stands for fresh receivers, exciting smoothly. So
you just added an extra, crowds. Crowds is a C.
It's with a K. We do K.
It makes me uncomfortable when you spell a C word with a K because it makes me think.
No, we do it.
K is my least favorite letter. I don't think it's
No, and then the K stands for Keenan. Keenan Stadium is where you played football at Carolina. All right, whatever. Let's go Cowboys football.
All right. Cowboys versus Bucs this week. And, of course, we here at Believe in the Cowboys are brought to you by our friends at Bet Online. Use the promo code BELIEVE, BLEAV, at betonline.ag, and you'll get a 50% welcome bonus with your first deposit. And you don't have to be like, oh, my God, no, what would I do that? I'm running out of time. No, there's always sports, dude. It's not just football. Basketball, NHL, MMA, tennis, boxing, golf. And they feature live betting, free contests, giveaways all season long. Use the promo code BELIEVE, BLEAV, at betonline.ag. Thanks. Jesse, are the Cowboys going to beat the Tampa Bay Buccaneers?
That's why they play football on Sundays or Mondays?
Yep. I had a feeling you would think that Tampa Bay is going to win. I had a feeling you might feel that way.
Yeah,
sort of like Tom Brady thing. Like, oh, yeah, it's Tom Brady. Tom Brady's offense sucks this year. Sucks.
And so has everyone else's offense in the league until they played the Cowboys. Think about it. A lot of teams have gotten right with the Cowboys. We've been the prescription for a lot of bad football teams. Teams come in here who can't get the running game going, who can't pass the ball, who can't do this, who can't do this. Quarterbacks suck, two quarterbacks, and all of a sudden we allow them to make a damn game out of it. So, yeah. Forgive me if a little bit of skepticism that the 7-time Super Bowl winning championship GOAT quarterback is coming to town, who's already beaten us one time this year. By the way, Leonard Fournette rushed for 127 yards that first game of the season. He hasn't sniffed 80 yards since then. So, I mean, there are certain things when it looks like when it comes to the Cowboys that teams all of a sudden, when they can't do things and they can't find their mojo and they can't find their whatever, their magic, they see the star inside the helmet for the Dallas Cowboys, and voila, stuff magically, and it happens to work for them.
Yeah, teams magically managed to go 5-12 against the Cowboys. Teams went 9-8 against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I know that part of this is me trying to talk myself into it, but I also I'm not going to allow myself to build up Tampa Bay to be some sort of monster when I'm just looking at their season as a whole, and they were one of the worst offenses in football.
Mm-hmm.
And their last 4 weeks, they lost to the Falcons, and they benched their starters, but they were losing when they benched them. They scored 19 against Arizona. They got smoked by Cincinnati. They got smoked by the 49ers. They scored 17 against the Saints, 17 against the Browns, 21 against the Seattle. This isn't even a good football team. So really what I'm setting myself up for is...
And they only scored 19 against us, right?
Huh?
Was it 19?
Yeah.
Against the Cowboys?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, the Cowboys averaged not 35 anymore because they just scored 6 or whatever. So now it's probably like 31. The Cowboys averaged about 31 since Dak got back, and Tampa can't score points. I'm just telling you that I am setting my expectation that the Cowboys won 12 games, Tampa won 8. Tampa's offense is crap, and the Cowboys' offense is good. You're supposed to beat them, and you should expect that the Cowboys are going to beat them. And if the Cowboys don't beat them, you should be disappointed because Tampa Bay is not a good football team. And I will not allow people to build them up to be a good football team because they're not a good football team. They're healthier than they've been most of the year. Maybe they're better than an 8-9 team, but they are a team that couldn't score on anybody this year. They scored 30 points. Let me see. Against the Chiefs, that's 1. And against the Panthers, that's 2. This team is not good, and I'm not going to build them up to be good. Tom Brady is not good. He's old.
I wouldn't
50.
I wouldn't take that part. I agree with you. This team is not an overall good team. Tampa Bay Buccaneers I'm talking about. It's not a good football team. They've had their struggles all year long. There's been, of course, Tom and his divorce situation, and now he's being sued over that whole that NFT stuff. That all that stuff is happening with him. So
Crypto people are weird.
Yeah. I don't understand it, so I don't judge them. But go ahead and just give your money to the universe, and hopefully it comes back and some sort of government doesn't kind of back it at all. But whatever. Okay, cool. How about it? But yeah. But the fact of the matter remains this: in the last, I think, 5 games, the Cowboys. While you're saying the Tampa Bay can't score, and the Cowboys scored 30 points a game, the Cowboys defense has been giving up almost 29 points a game. So there's a lot of this thing, and they're very similar with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Have had this rotation of offensive linemen, can't get right on offensive linemen, dealt with a lot of injuries offensively, and they're trying to find their way. But I personally just I can't remove myself from the thought process of, and I've said this, I've tweeted this, I've done this on all the shows that I do, I've said it in the barbershop, I've said it everywhere. A one-game scenario where, and we always say Tom Brady and the Buccaneers, one-game scenario, I don't like it. I don't like it. Playoffs. This defense is a defense who said to you at the beginning of the year, we knew exactly what they were going to run. They said we knew what the Cowboys were going to run. They're simplistic in their approach. They kind of are almost predictable in what they do, and we understood it and we knew it. And they run a defense and probably run it the best, probably the best team that run this type of defense in the league. That Tampa 2. That at times he has to throw the ball into coverage with a lot of men dropping. That at times confuses him. And if they have any pressure up front, with Vita Vea and Akeem Hicks and John, what's his name, Troy.
Joe Tryon?
Tryon.
I forgot the hyphenated part, but Joe Tryon.
Joe Tryon, Sukia. I mean, there's some real good football players, and it should be a real good football game. But it worries me. It does. And I do think the Cowboys are the better football team, but it worries me that in a one-game situation on the road, which the Cowboys have not been good on the road in the playoffs, it worries me a little bit. It does. It does. It has me a little cause for pause.
The things that I think are worrisome is that, like, over the last few weeks, you look at once you lost Biotish on top of not having Terrence Steele, I mean, they can't run block to save their lives. You're going to get Biotish back. And I actually kind of wonder what the offensive line is going to look like. My gut is they're going to be sending Jason Peters to the bench.
They should.
They'll put McGovern back at guard. They'll put Tyler Smith back at left tackle, and they'll play Tyron / Jason Peters at right tackle, I guess. And hopefully that can kind of get them back on track running the ball, because I remember the Super Bowl Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and you couldn't run on their front 4. They would just have 4 dudes that would stop everything. This year they give up 4.5 yards per carry. They get 3.4 yards per carry. But it's I guess I look at the last few weeks of Cowboy football, and it's man, you're putting a lot of faith into the fact that getting Tyler Biotish back is going to rediscover your run game, and that I am putting faith in the fact that the Cowboys are one of the best offenses in football. And so I'm going to take my 17-game sample size over my last week sample size and say, okay, you have a very good offense. But I don't know, the Cowboys are just a weird team. The Cowboys are a really weird team because they're one of the best offenses in football, and they're doing it with an average O-line, 1 wide receiver, and one of the running backs isn't very good that gets half the carries. And so it's all I believe that you are the total of your work, and the total of their work says this is one of the best offenses in football, but it's real weird to wrap your head around but how?
Yeah.
The pieces don't add up to that, and yet they score all these points. So yeah, my predictions on this game, I have like 11 different predictions, which just goes to show us that that we have no idea. I want to throw a couple of things at you and just get your reaction to it, because this is one of the things I said on the radio today on 97.1 The Freak. Because now that we played a full 17, we have year-end stats, and some of these are nerd stats, but a lot of it confirms something we already knew. The next gen stats for wide receivers, Noah Brown and Michael Gallup are two of the absolute worst in the entire league. It's getting separation and yards after catch. CeeDee Lamb is one of the best at both. If you're going to lose to Tampa, I have demands for the Cowboys. My demands are CeeDee Lamb gets double-digit targets no matter what. Tony Pollard gets considerably more touches than Zeke no matter what. And if you don't do those things, then you're not even trying your hardest to win at football, and I don't know what we're doing. So those are my first two demands: is throw to the dude that gets open, despite the fact that he's the only guy people care about, and hand it to the dude who runs it better. Are these easy enough demands?
100%, and I agree with you wholeheartedly. My stance on this game when it comes to the running game, Cowboys don't win this football game if your running backs, Tony Pollard, Zeke Elliott, however you want to combine. If you don't dominate in the running game, you won't win this football game.
Yeah, I do think Tampa Bay is. I mean, the weird part is that they're kind of susceptible on both parts of defense, but they were okay this year. But they're a better pass defense than they are a run defense. And so if you are not able to run it and they're able to play you to pass, and that's the better part of their defense, it does go to why I think that a lot of people can look at this game and say, I think Tampa's going to win, because matchup-wise, it demands that you be able to run the football, because it's what they're not as good at. It demands that you be able to do that. And for a few weeks now, you've been watching an offensive line that can't block for that and dudes who can't get going. So you are banking on the fact that the Cowboys running game of the last 2 or 3 weeks is not what the Cowboys running game is going to be once you get McGovern out of center and back to guard and you get Tyler Biadasz back in there. Do you buy the idea that the Cowboys will be able to run the football on them?
They have to. And they have to get creative in the way they run the football. Like, running at Vita Vea might not be the best recipe. It just isn't. But let's get guys on edges. Let's get guys pulling. That's when you were at your best. When you pull Tyler Smith, when you pull guys like Zach Martin, and you allow those guys to get out on those cornerbacks and make those guys be a part of the run game, they don't want to. And you're actually better that way. But when you line up on first down and run the ball in the A-gaps, and they're waiting for you right then and there, and now you find yourself in 2nd and 9 or 2nd and 10, and then you try to run it again, and now you're in 8, that just does not lend for you to have a ton of success, especially when you're now looking at really one receiver is the only one getting open, and instead of you running yards to get open at first down, you run full vertical. So it's like, there are things that you can do that can keep you ahead of the sticks. You cannot fall behind the sticks against this defense, because one of the things that they're going to do is they're going to sing guys. Like, that's what they're going to do. Todd Bowles is going to blitz you. He's going to line up, and he's going to bring a safety. He's going to bring a linebacker. And, Levante David and Devin White, those two dudes are football playing dudes. They run sideline to sideline. And if you can't get blocks, if you can't get those men, those combo blocks to the second level, which they struggle with the last couple of weeks, when you run right at them, get guys on the edges, because those guys, I'm not saying that they're Micah Parsons fast, but they ain't too far behind Micah Parsons type fast. They run to the football. So if you can't establish that, then you're going to have a long day trying to win this football.
And I do think, to me, one of the biggest things when you're trying to run the football against Tampa Bay is, I remember watching Tampa Bay against San Francisco, and San Francisco ran it like 35 or 40 times. They only threw it 20 times, and they still put up 35 points, because Tampa has one of the strangest players in the NFL, because the year they won the Super Bowl, the world, or the media world, pretended that like Devin White was the best linebacker on their team, and he never was. Levante David is. He's an all-around stud. Like, Devin White will sack your quarterback, and if you're trying to run away from Devin White, he will hurt you. But the reason San Francisco got 8.5 a pop out of Christian McCaffrey and over 5 yards carry out of every running back is make them think and play football, not run and hit. I think you just have to have your creative ways of running it with misdirection and take advantage of, like Micah Parsons. People will run at him. They'll try to screen behind him. They try to I want to take a guy that on your team can be a superstar. And this is very Devin White specific. Can be a superstar if you let him be a blitzer and you let him just run sideline to sideline. But if I make you process, play, and mess with your keys and do all these different things, Devin White was the worst player on their defense against San Francisco. And so that's one of my things with football is I demand that you also steal from people when things work.
We agree. We both agree on be a thief. Be a thieving about Kyle Shanahan, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I mean, you can't. Yeah.
More. Like, come on. That's not a fair comparison to say, hey, do what that guy do. When all you have to do is turn on your all 22 film and steal whatever he does. Like literally just steal it. In fact, you can steal it so bad, you can call the exact same thing that he calls it.
Their one play that they did it. And when I see people do it, I'm like, yes, everyone should steal the good plays. Because I watched it. I think it was San Francisco where they went
double screen,
fake screen,
middle screen to the tight end.
And it was right down the seam, nobody home. And then I forgot what college bowl game it was, and they ran the same play. And I was like, yes, steal the good plays. Steal them all. They work. Run the good stuff.
I know. It's simple. It's simple. Just steal. Like you could run an entire offense off stolen goods.
You should. And you could just run 30 plays total and you just name them after the team you took them from. That's how you identify them. You run the Philadelphia play. All right. San Francisco play.
Run the San Francisco tight end screen.
I am not good enough or smart enough, and I haven't actually been in the game and long enough that I would have zero chance as an offensive coordinator unless I could just hit play. And I'm like, look, guys, I don't know what we call that blocking scheme. I don't know. But this is what y'all gonna do. And then I'm gonna give you the next play, and then that's what y'all gonna do. And I'll let you know when to run which one.
But the great thing is that when you steal the play, you can call it whatever it is you want to call it. So like take it into your office, get with your O-line coach, like, hey, what is this blocking scheme right here? Oh yeah, we call that, dual, and we're gonna slide the cool. Okay. Great. Formulate that into this call, because this is what we're gonna call it.
Yeah. We're gonna call this one the screen.
Yeah.
That's a fun play.
And the funny part about it, like in NFL offices, you have some plays like that. Like you have plays that'll be like we had a play that called something but it was called Dick'em. And it was literally a double move.
Yeah.
It was called Dick'em.
Yeah.
Like, here's what we're doing. Dick'em. All right, cool.
There's a lot of crotch references in football. Like it was the first thing I learned I think it was in high school when we started calling it. No, it was middle school on a punt return. And this wouldn't be allowed anymore because this is definitely not politically correct. But like I was the punt returner in middle school, and it was look, if you can't get to the ball, he said, you scream Peter. You scream Peter.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay. And he was like, because you don't want to touch a Peter. Like, well, but at the time you're like, okay, yeah, I got you. Okay, yeah, I understand.
Which, by the way,
can't do that anymore.
Peter is still used. Peter, poison is still used in the NFL today. Still used. It's still used.
Which is fine because the word it got grandfathered because it was already there, and now you just say, well, it's just a word we say. We don't have to give you an explanation. It's just the word that gets people's attention. I don't know what you're talking about. Shout out to all people. I just want y'all to know that. Okay, biggest thing that worries.
Talk about Peters, right? Go ahead. I'm sorry.
The biggest thing that worries me about this game, and Jesse, you can tell me about defensive coordinators because that's another job I'm not smart enough to do. Like I'll pick apart defensive coordinators and tell you why they're stupid, but I'm not smart enough to tell you how to do things better. Biggest worry is that an offense that hasn't been good this year can still look up and go, that's cool. One of your guys can't cover and I'm going to kill him. If the Cowboys don't find a way, first of all, we don't even know who it's going to be out there. It seems like based on some media stuff, maybe Xavier Rhodes is going to get a shot at this thing straight off the couch. Like, all right, you're the new corner. If Dan Quinn can't figure a way to protect that dude, is that his fault? Or do you just go, you got a dude that can't do the job?
See, in the playoffs, it's at all cost. So, like, if I literally have to walk another dude over the top of the safety and just be like, listen, here's what it is. Like, our job is to advance and move on. Like, that's it. Win and advance and move on. So I don't care if you know that I'm going to double whoever is over here. You just know you're getting over the top help, But it's not like. Here's the thing that worries me. But to your point, yes. And if Dan Quinn can't figure that out, yes, because this is what you're paid to do. You're paid to figure it out. That's why they pay you. That's why they gave you and keep you, so you don't go be a head coach somewhere else. You are paid to figure it out in a one. Because this ain't one game. I don't care how it looks. They can say whatever they want about. Oh, y'all was scared. Yes, we were. We were terrified of playing the left quarterback spot. So we parked Malik Hooker. We parked Jaron Kershaw. We parked Donovan Wilson literally over the top of wherever that quarterback was lined up. Yes, we were afraid, but we were afraid and we won. You go home on the couch, we'll proceed, and we'll figure it out next week. That is what you're paid to do. So for Dan Quinn, he has to figure it out by hook or by crook, by Peter or by Weeder. I don't care.
Final thing about this game is the one reason that the Cowboys defense over the course of the season is still considered, depending on how you rank defenses, but top 5, top 8. It hadn't been as good the last few weeks, but they did the impossible, which is lead the league in turnovers forced 2 years in a row. That just doesn't happen. There's a level of variance and luck to a quarterback making a stupid throw and being able to knock a ball out and not being able to knock a ball out. And like, you can't take that away from the Cowboys defense that they did that. But also you're going to go in here and go, okay, my strength is I can take this ball away. And man, Tom Brady is so dink and dunk careful. And when he takes his shots, he's not usually risking it a ton. Although he has thrown some bad picks. He is semi-washed, but 9 picks over the course of a season isn't very many. And I wonder, are the Cowboys going to be able to turn the Bucs over? And they need to.
I think the only way that you do that, if those turnovers come from sack fumbles. I think that's the only way.
You better do that quickly. So we're talking to Micah.
Right. Because even Byron Leftwich came out and talked about it. He said, listen, when you turn on the film, number 11 shows up every which way. He's dangerous. He's fearful. We understand that. We will know where he's at. He kicked the ever-living bleep bird out of our left tackle the first time that we played them. We know that. We understand that. We get that. They're going to add some people over there to him. But for Tom Brady, he's going to take a lot of those. And the way Dan Quinn plays that cover 3 defense, a lot of times, so those guys are off coverage. So you think about the Godwin screens, you think about the smoke screen, you think about the hitches, you think about Rudolphs of the worlds, the Braits of the worlds. Like, a lot of stuff is going to go underneath until he finds that matchup. And just like he did before, it doesn't come from the Godwin or the Mike Evans. No, it's when you line up the old man Julio Jones and you run him in sort of a situation where now he's outside and you run him and Mike Evans up the seam vertically and do something like that. And now that safety have to make a decision with the Ron plan and whoever that left quarterback is. So that's the part that worries me. But in those moments when they decide to take a shot, Micah Parsons gets home. I don't think Tom, again, it's a playoffs. It's a different level. I think he locks in even more. So I don't see him being careless with the football. So if it comes, it's going to have to be coming, stripping a guy or sacking a guy, knocking the ball out of a running back, whether Fournette or one of those guys. I don't see the interceptions coming like that from Tom Brady.
23-20 Cowboys.
I would be lying to you if I didn't think the Tampa Bay Buccaneers were going to win this football game. And I want the Cowboys to win. I do. I want to be wrong in this prediction, but I can't get off the fact that, like, it's still a one-game situational playoff situation on the road at home for Tampa Bay. I got a 21-17.
Oh, what a jerk. All right, Jesse. Well, even with that, I still hope you have a great day.
I want to be wrong. I want to be wrong.
I
Please,
want
make
to
me
be
wrong.
right, and I fear I'm wrong. I think I'm just speaking out of optimism, but don't worry about that.
Yeah.
All right, everybody, believe in the Cowboys or don't, but the name of the show is Believe in the Cowboys. Remember, you have no idea what anybody's going through, so be cool to everyone. We love you.